Good afternoon, everyone. Happy opening day. Welcome to episode 3 of Inside the Numbers. I'm Hunter Aschenbrenner, joined again by Jake Auerbach. Today, we are going to be previewing the upcoming MLB season, starting tonight with the Yankees and the Giants. We're going to be focusing mainly on the Yankees and Mets, and let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Big week, big day today. MLB season kicking off officially. Been a long off season, bridged by the WBC, but that's not the MLB. Nothing's as exciting as the real season. So,
Yeah.
exciting times for baseball fans.
Yeah, it's just nice to know that for the next 6 months, almost every night, there's going to be baseball on TV to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to start with the Yankees side of things before we move to the Mets later. The main thing with this team coming in, the main narrative is that they're running it back, and it's completely true. It's just the debate on whether it's a good decision or it's bad. It's not the decision that fans are going to like because they always want new players and new people to root for, especially when they don't win the World Series, which they lost in the ALDS to the Blue Jays. But do you think it's an overall good decision or a bad decision by Brian Cashman and the front office?
I wouldn't say it's really good or bad. There's pros and cons to both sides. The pros are it's a really good lineup. It's pretty stacked throughout the whole order. You got good lefty righty matchups, balanced lineup. It's a good lineup through and through. But I would say the cons are, they didn't go anywhere last year. They weren't the offense actually produced, but not in the playoffs. They were really bad in the playoffs, and that's one of the main reasons why they didn't go far at all. They got bounced by the Blue Jays, getting destroyed in pretty much every game. And then, um, I mean, it's more about excitement also.
Yeah.
You don't want to see an off season where you literally do nothing besides bring back
Yeah,
your own guys.
the main thing was just waiting out for Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
And there were rumors all offseason about a starting pitcher. They ended up just going Ryan Weathers. And you've really been able to see why throughout spring training, why they didn't go and make a trade for, Mackenzie Gore or Freddie Peralta, who we'll talk about. They have so much pitching depth. They have their 4 that they're going to start their year with. And then Luis Heel is available. Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon are going to be back soon. Elmer Rodriguez and Carlos Logranje are both top prospects that are elite. So they have so many options on the pitching side of things that come the summer, it could be a very fun group to watch.
Yeah, I never thought it was the right idea for the Yankees to go out and trade for a starting pitcher. Bullpen, a reliever, or closer would have been different, but you don't really see those guys get traded a lot in the offseason. Those are more the trade deadline chips. But
Yeah.
I don't think it would have made a ton of sense for them to go out and make a move for a starting pitcher. I think a bat would have made sense. Um, I think maybe a shortstop, third baseman could have made a ton of sense for the Yankees. But I never really thought a starting pitcher was up there for their needs. I think it would have been expensive. Their farm system, it's solid, but they don't have, they got a couple top guys, but they don't have the depth to really
Yeah.
burn the farm for one guy. And then I just don't think that starting pitcher was a need. It's loaded. I mean, you got guys. We'll touch on him in a little bit, but Luis Heel is starting the season in AAA. I mean, any other team, he's pretty much in the MLB. So
Yeah, definitely. While they are running it back, it's really, they're going to be adding an ace level pitcher through, the middle of May or early June. He pitched yesterday in their final spring training game, obviously talking about Garrett Cole, and he's just looked very strong. His rehab process has been great. He was throwing 98 miles an hour on the fastball. His stuff looks good. It's going to be awesome to get Garrett back. And, while they lost to the Blue Jays, pitching was the main reason. Rodon, Fried, they all got shelled in that series. And Garrett Cole is one of the best, not only pitchers, but playoff pitchers. He's always elite in the postseason.
yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be massive to the Yankees when he returns. It's probably going to be around late May, early June. But coaches always say this for every sport when a star player returns like that midseason, it's almost like a trade acquisition.
Yeah.
I guarantee that's going to be the headline when he comes back. Boone says in the press conference or something, uh, Garrett Cole's like a trade acquisition for us. He's that important. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's gonna be huge for the Yankees this year. Their rotation is gonna be ridiculous once he comes
Yeah, and
back.
it's not just that they're getting Cole back. There's levels to it. How the bullpen to start, it doesn't look strong, but we know Matt Blake, he excels at getting people that you don't know and just turning them into elite relievers. But there's a very good chance that through June and July that you're looking at a back end of the bullpen of Luis Gil, Ryan Weathers, Carlos Legrand, David Bednar, Camille Doval. There's so many options with elite stuff, and then three aces, and maybe even four with Cole, Fried, Rodon, and Schlittler, which is just, I mean, it's awesome. And if the lineup can redo what they did last year, I think most of them will. And the question is, can Grisham? But if they can, they're going to be the best team in the AL, hands no debate.
I mean, yeah, the AL has some competition. I don't know if they're easily the number one team. I think the Mariners are a really good team.
They
I think
are.
they're gonna be great this year. Um, but I mean, yeah, the Yankees are pretty much loaded. They don't have a they have they have a couple positions that they could fill. Definitely. I mean, the left side of the infield, shortstop and third base. It's a little rough over there. And then yeah, like you said, the bullpen. Not a lot of top names in there, but Matt Blake is great at developing these guys that really come out of nowhere.
Hmm.
And he can turn them into real legit relievers, like you saw Luke Weaver a couple years ago.
Yeah. I always go back to the playoff run where they got to the World Series. Their bullpen was led by Luke Weaver, Tim Hill, Jake Cousins. It was those types of players that just, I mean, before that they were DFA'd multiple times and just nowhere near a bullpen, let alone a World Series caliber bullpen.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you can't predict who that guy is going to be, who you scoop up off waivers, and Matt Blake turns into a sub 2 ERA kind of guy who's
Yeah.
a legit bullpen arm. You can't predict that. You can't predict if there's going to be anyone. I mean, that's just not something you can really rely on. But I think it's good that the Yankees have done this in the past with Matt Blake, and I think it's something to look forward to in the season if the bullpen gets shaky.
Yeah, and they're starting with the same team that lost in the playoffs, not the same team from opening day, which is just, I mean, huge. Their bench is elite. I mean, Grichuk, Rosario, Goldschmidt, and Escara to start at least is a really good bench, and they have depth everywhere because they didn't make a huge trade with their top guys, so they're loaded up for the trade deadline to go and add bullpen arms. If they need a bat, they have a bunch of pitching prospects and even some hitting prospects to go trade. And in AAA, Jason Dominguez, he's gonna make an impact on the team. It's interesting with him how, I mean, he had a very solid season last year. The defense was really shaky and the right-handed hitting was not good either. He's been unbelievable in spring training, and it's on most other teams he's starting, but they have three all-star caliber outfielders that there's just literally no spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, we saw last year. I mean, the fielding has always been his main concern. He is borderline unplayable in the field at this point. He just makes so many routine drops. Like there's just
Yeah, he
routine
takes
fly
his main
balls
issue.
to
He takes bad routes. That it's just
yeah, definitely.
he doesn't like see the ball off the bat as well as like Bellinger. Bellinger's a lead out there and left.
Yeah. Um, but the bat has never really been a concern, and he wasn't an all-star caliber hitter last year, but he was solid. Very good against righties.
Especially against righties.
Um, so I think a DH spot would probably be best for him. But I mean, with the Yankees, I mean, they have Stanton playing DH. Obviously, he can't play in the field. The day Stanton they're resting, then you have Goldschmidt at first and Rice at DH. So there's literally just no spots for Jason Dominguez. So interesting. We'll see what happens. I could see a trade is potential. I
I
don't think
think
it will happen, but I think if a top name enters the trade rumors, I think he could definitely be a chip in the trade.
yeah.
Just because there's not a lot of spots for him in the Yankees.
I think with a trade, you're looking more at Spencer Jones. I don't see a long term path for him. It's so intriguing with Jones. he just hits he when he connects on the ball, it's unreal and he just crushes it. But it's kind of like, I mean, when Aaron Judge was in the minors, he would strike out so much and it was really just a lottery. Would he be able to connect enough? And he obviously has and developed so well. But Jones, I mean, he strikes out a ton. He's very tall, but then he'll hit one 440 feet. But I think he's more the guy that you could see traded. Dominguez, I know you said DH. I mean, I still think that he can end up being a very solid outfielder. He's very athletic. You know, we've all heard the comps to Mickey Mantle and Mike Trout when he was 16. He hasn't played much in the minors just because of how young he is, how injuries and COVID has like hampered him in the minors. So I just think that I really think he could become a solid defender one day.
Yeah, I still think Jason Dominguez has all this potential. I mean, I don't think he's going to be. Look, he wasn't bad last year.
Yeah.
He was a solid player, but we'll see what happens. I'm not sure his future is with the Yankees, just because. I mean, we'll see what happens with Grisham this offseason.
Yeah.
Um,
I still think that there's a very good chance that, Giancarlo Stanton's going to get hurt. It's
yeah,
obvious. And, I mean, there's no issue with it. And Grisham, I mean, if he doesn't produce, Dominguez will be up here. If
yeah,
anybody gets hurt, the first call with the outfield or DH, the first call is Dominguez.
yeah, definitely.
And
Going back
I
to
just,
Spencer Jones for a second, just want to mention him for a second. He's the definition of a boomer bust prospect.
yeah,
Let's say the one of the bottom barrel teams, like the White Sox, decide to move one of their better players. I don't even know who they have at this point who would cost up a big prospect like that, but just one of those bottom barrel teams. If they decide to move off one of their better players, I think Spencer Jones would fit perfectly with them. They just need a spark at this point.
yeah.
Um, I think he could be a terrible player, but that's just what
Yeah, it's just,
you're getting in the prospect like him.
yeah.
But he has all the potential in the world.
Yeah, it's such an intriguing prospect to just get rid of, and it's so hard to get rid of him because you see he hit like 40 home runs in the minors last year, and if he can just cut down just a percent or two on those strikeouts, he can easily. He's one of the best outfielders in the entire organization. He's very tall. He's very fast. He's a 5 tool player except contact, and that's
Yeah.
just it.
I mean, I remember the start of spring training. It's hard to look into spring training so much. The actual production, you're more looking at pitchers, what their velocity is up to, how their
Yeah,
pitches are looking. You're not really looking at the actual stats themselves, just because it's spring,
hmm
whatever.
they're just
But
working on stuff.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, Spencer Jones was raking in spring the first couple weeks. I remember
hmm
he was homering every at bat pretty much.
Yeah, he hit 2 home runs on Monday against the Cubs in Arizona, and
Yeah,
it's just. I mean, we'll see what happens. They're both going to start in AAA, Jones and Dominguez, and we'll see if they make an impact down the line. Another guy that's going to be starting in AAA is Oswaldo Cabrera. He was the starting third baseman that last
yeah.
year, and that's just crazy. And obviously, he had the devastating ankle injury, and he's fully recovered now. And they have so much depth that he's starting down in AAA.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. He's the youngest out of the three guys who would play third base out of Rosario, McMahon, and Cabrera. I think the low. I think a room of platooning McMahon and Rosario is fine going into the year. There's definitely room for improvement,
Yeah,
but you're provided with a safe floor. McMahon's elite defensively. They're both not gonna provide much offensive
yeah. Rosario
power.
hits a lot versus lefties, but you're not looking a lot from there. I mean, they have so many other hitters in the lineup that can produce and do damage that they're fine with third being probably the worst spot.
Yeah, I mean that's probably going to be your 8 or 9 spot in the lineup.
hmm
Um, I mean we'll see what happens there. You're not expecting a lot offensively from either of them. But McMahon's one of the best defenders at third base in the league.
Yeah,
Um, so I think they're fine going into the season right now. But I don't know who. I don't know if they're throwing any names out there. I'm not trying to throw any names out there before the season even starts, but that could be a real position that they target at the deadline or in the off season.
yeah. We'll see as the season progresses, but
Yeah.
I think McMahon there at third is just huge. I mean, just the defense. They have two elite left-handed pitchers with Fried and Rodon. That there's always ground balls to third base. And last year, Peraza, LeMahieu, and Cabrera, and even Jazz when he was over there, there were so many errors, and it hurt the team a lot before McMahon got there.
Yeah. Uh, just want to throw this idea out. You can call me an idiot for it, but would Volpe ever has he ever played third?
No, it's only second would be the conversation because his arm's not the strongest.
Yeah, I mean, I know his arm has issues and he was injured last year.
Yeah, never third base. I would,
All right.
I would. That'd be a terrible decision, honestly, by the Yankees. I
I
could
just
really
don't know
see
because
second.
I mean, you just at this point after the season he had last year, defensively specifically, um, I feel like a change of scenery wouldn't be bad.
Mm,
Playing him at the hot corner could be different, but I
nah.
don't I don't
I
think it would
think
be a good idea. Just
he's
just wondering.
yeah, he's gonna start a rehab assignment in about 2 weeks, and he's gonna have a full spring. So we're probably not looking at him coming up back to the big leagues until probably around May. Which I mean, one of these years, you hope it'll click for him at the plate. He's always been an elite defender besides last year, and he hurt that shoulder in May. So I'm banking on him being back to that Gold Glove elite defender at short, and there's no real reason why it wouldn't be. I mean, I thought last year was really the shoulder and him being in his own head.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why the Yankees kept that a secret. I mean, you can't throw a ball with a torn labrum.
Yeah,
Like
it
I don't
just
know
it wasn't.
why.
It was
I
clear
don't
he
know
wasn't.
why they wouldn't rule him out for the season, get him that surgery, just get
Yeah,
him full on track for recovery. Because Caballero is a solid defender. Um,
yeah. You just
I
prefer
think
him as a bench piece with his speed and versatility.
yeah, definitely. But Volpe was unplayable in the field
Yeah,
last year. He was just making he had a torn labrum. You can't throw a
yeah,
baseball with a torn labrum. I don't know what the Yankees were doing there, but
yeah. I think when Volpe comes back, he's going to get a leash at shortstop and get run there. And we'll see how long that lasts. I could definitely see shortstop being again something they target, but that's way down the line.
yeah, I mean, shortstop has to be a target for them. I mean, if Volpe doesn't produce this year at all, I mean, what? This is his fourth year.
Yeah, it's
I,
it's it's
that's
time.
that's time.
I think, usually we see with the Yankees, they got off to huge, awesome starts, and then June and July and August they usually tail off, and then September they heat up, get into the playoffs, and then usually lose in the second or third round. This year, though, we could see it being different. They got to survive until Cole and Rodon are back, sometime in April, May, June. With the starting rotation, it's going to be Fried, Schlittler, Warren, and Ryan Weathers. There's question marks at Warren and Weathers there. Warren, I feel really good about. He's had an awesome spring training. Weathers, though, the stuff is there, just he's gotten shelled in spring.
Yeah. Weathers has dealt with injuries. That was the stuff was always there. When he was in Miami, it was never really the stuff. I mean, his pitchers are pretty nasty. I remember his first spring training start this year was
Yeah, it was
great,
gross.
and then since then he's been awful. But again, you don't really look into spring that much in terms of
Yeah.
the actual stats and production. You look into how the stuff is looking. But I think if he can stay healthy, he could be a solid piece. It was a nice trade for them. I liked it at the time. A good upside. Who did they give up?
They gave up four prospects. It wasn't anyone major. No one that was going to be in the majors immediately, though.
All right, so I think yeah, I did like the trade at the time. It was a high upside, uh,
Yeah.
low risk, high reward.
Yeah, a guy with elite stuff that I mentioned earlier with Carlos Legrand. I'm really interested to see when we see him in the big leagues. I think it's going to be soon. I really do. He came up into spring this year and really opened a lot of eyes. He was elite for the most part. I know against the Cubs the other day, he really got crushed, but he's got electric stuff. He's going to sit 101 with that fastball. He has a wicked slider. Everything he throws, he has three, four, or five pitches that all are plus pitches.
Yeah, he's a super talented prospect. I'm not sure if we see him this season though. I don't think we're going to see him as soon as you think. I think going back to my point I made about trading for a pitcher this offseason, I think that their rotation is just loaded right now.
Yeah, I think
They got 7 or 8 starting caliber pitchers right now that
yeah,
I don't think he'll get in over this year unless he's just lighting up. Is he starting in AAA?
he is. Yeah.
So unless he really has like a sub 2 ERA down there and he's just lighting up everyone, I don't think he'll get the call up this year.
You said about the rotation. I think he's going to be in the bullpen. I think that he's going to reach a certain point of innings where they feel comfortable with letting him finish the year in the bullpen. And with the lack of like elite pitchers down in the pen, him coming up and just being lights out down there, he's gotten comparisons to Dylan Betances. But him coming up and just being elite, I think that happens. I'm gonna predict this right now. By the All-Star break, he will be in the majors out of the bullpen.
All right, well, we'll look out for that. I mean, I could see him in a kind of like a long relief role. Is that how you see him?
I really think he's gonna come up and they're gonna try and not, because when they're in the minors, the pitchers mainly, they have them not throw full season's innings and they have innings limits each year. I think he'll get to a certain amount starting that they'll be fine with bringing him up to the big leagues and having him help in that setup role before Bednar. If he's that good,
Yeah.
he's unhittable.
Do you think you would be comfortable, going from a guy that is used to throwing 6 innings a game and close to 90 pitches, instead going out there and throwing 20, 25 pitches once every or 3 or 4 times a week?
Yeah,
Do you think he's comfortable with that?
I mean, he's a 20-year-old prospect. I think he's fine with anything just to get to the big leagues.
Yeah.
I think it'll leave. I think down the line they're going to give him a chance starting, but with a not great bullpen and you have a pitcher who throws 103 starting, I mean, you could dream about what 105, even 106 out of the bullpen. I mean,
Yeah,
I would not. That's not out of question for him. He's touched 104 before. I'm pretty sure.
Has he?
Yeah.
It's impressive. I haven't seen that, but I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world. I just don't think if the bullpen is fine but not elite. I think if it's fine, I don't think you should touch him. I don't think you want to toy with his development at all or anything. He's still 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he's 20 years old, I don't think you should play with that at all. Just kind of leave him down. Really, just grind out in AAA for the rest of the season. And then next year he could really compete for a starting spot.
Yeah. Before we move to the Mets, I want to do team awards predictions for the Yankees, and we'll do this for the Mets as well.
Yep.
The three I have is the MVP, the Cy Young, and the most surprising player. You can add more. We can add more awards if you want. I think we're going to both agree that the MVP is going to be Judge.
Yeah.
And the Cy Young, I think Fried would be the popular pick. I'm going to go with Cam Schlittler.
All right. I like it. I mean, the stuff is there. No question about it.
I think I could see it going both ways with him taking a step back, but I could also see him being an absolute elite pitcher. He's going to be the third or fourth starter come the summer. So it's not like he has like the pressure on him. He's going to throw 100 every pitch, and we know he handles everything well after that elite Red Sox start. So that's my bold prediction.
The question about him is that he really has one pitch.
Yeah, it's a
I know
fastball.
He was
And
developing
that's-
pitches in the offseason. I saw that, but we'll see how it pans out. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think eventually teams, if he doesn't diversify a little bit, if he stays just really primarily with that fastball, I think teams
Yeah,
are gonna
it's
figure that out
it's too
eventually.
fat. He has like two shapes of fastballs, and then he has a curve, and then I'm pretty sure he's thrown a bit of a cutter in spring training, but not much.
Yeah,
But
so
it's
he's
really,
testing
I
it out.
mean, I see what you're saying about the fastball where teams can figure it out, but his location is elite, and he just throws that at the top of the zone. I mean, whether you know it's coming or not, if you have 101 painted on the numbers, you're not hitting it.
Yeah, I mean, fair debate, but I think if he really can't develop these other pitches, and he really is just throwing one fastball, teams are going to figure him out eventually. It just will happen.
Are you gonna go with Freed for the team, Cy Young?
Yeah, I hate to be boring, but I'm gonna go Freed. I think he's just. I mean, you can't really go Cole or Don because they're
Yeah.
gonna miss half the
Cole, I
season. But
mean, I don't see. I think Cole might be very good when he comes back, but he's not going to come back till June, and you don't know how he's going to look immediately. The hope
yeah,
is just he'll be ready for October.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I hate to be boring, but I'm gonna go with Freed.
And then the most surprising player, I'm between two here. I think Will Warren is up there for me, and not really surprising, but Ben Rice is. I mean, not really surprising. I think he's just gonna blossom into. I think he's gonna MVP votes. That's one of
Whoa.
my bold predictions here.
All right. I mean, I was
Not
gonna go
not
Ben
top. I
Rice.
think he's gonna get like seventh or eighth place MVP votes.
I mean, I was gonna say Ben Rice. It's not really a surprising pick. I think. I just think his stats are gonna look better than last year's.
Yeah, he's just. I think he's gonna be hands down their second best hitter.
Yeah.
But Will Warren, I really feel good about. I think he's gonna stick in the rotation, but he was very good last year. Besides 3 or 4 starts where he blew up in the first or second inning. But I feel really good about him like blossoming and continuing to go.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess I'm gonna go Ben Rice. Um,
Mm,
I think he's a really good player. I think he makes really good contact with the ball. I mean, I'm a big Savant guy, but
hmm
you pull up a Savant, everything's at the real top tier of it.
Yeah. So now let's transition to the Mets side of things. They're gonna start tomorrow. They're gonna be at home with Paul Skeens on the bump, and that's gonna be interesting. Freddie Peralta is gonna get the start on opening day, and somebody that just made the team, a rookie who's gonna have his first at bat come against the Cy Young, Carson Bench. He was officially announced as the right fielder a couple days ago. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think it was ultimately the right decision to start him in the majors?
Yeah, I mean, super exciting. I mean, Benj is, I think, the number 15 prospect in baseball. He's number 2 in the Mets organization behind Nolan McLean. Um, at the end of the day, I do think it's the right decision, especially with the Mike Talkman injury. Um,
Yeah,
but do I? He played what 12 games in AAA?
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be a really good player. I just think, I mean, I'm not making the comparison at all, but Anthony Volpe a couple years ago, he was the top prospect, and then he was a lead in spring, and he wasn't ready for the big leagues, and they wouldn't send him down. I wonder how much of a leash Benj will have. If he struggles the first month, they gonna keep him in the majors, or will they send him back to the minors?
I would say they probably send him back to the minors because they have guys that can fill in. They have Tyrone
Yeah,
Taylor. They picked up MJ Melendez. We'll see what happens with Talkman, how injured he really is, how when he'll be back and when he'll be healthy. But I think at the end of the day, I do think it's the right decision to start him in right field. He's all the talent in the world. I think in the future, at his peak, he will be an all-star 5-tool player. He has a little bit of everything. The power is still developing, but he has the pop. I mean, the contact's elite. He's fast. He's great defensively. Um, so I really do see him being a 5-tool player in the future.
yeah.
Like an elite 5-tool player in the future. We'll see how it goes. The first couple of weeks, obviously, game 1 of his career versus Paul Skeens, but big test for him. But we'll see what happens. I do think he has all the talent in the world. So I do think it's the right decision, especially with the Talkman injury.
Yeah, I think it definitely was the right decision. It's just risky if he's truly ready for the big leagues. And yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest concern that he played 12 games in AAA. You don't like to rush guys, especially of his caliber.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with them at all as prospects. You want to keep their development as straight line as possible and not fast track him to the MLB.
Yeah. I feel like one of the big questions for the Mets, last year their rotation was terrible, and they were really just like trying to get to the finish line by any means. They went out and traded for Freddie Peralta, and Nolan McLean is now expected to be a very good pitcher. What are your thoughts on the rotation coming into this year?
Yeah, I think they definitely improved it. Freddie Peralta is an ace. They got their ace. That's enough said about him. I mean, he's that guy. Um, I think he's gonna be a Cy Young candidate this year. He was one of the best pitchers in NL last year. I think he's going to be an elite player.
Hmm.
That's it. They gave up a lot, but they got an elite player. Just re-sign him, and we win the trade. That's it.
Yeah,
Um, and then McLean. I mean, he's just a monumental ad. I mean, he's like you look at the rotation last year. I mean, you add McLean into this mix. I do think McLean is going to be a Cy Young level pitcher in the future. I'm not sure about
hmm
this season, but I think in the future, once he gets more reps in the MLB and really becomes that guy, I think he will be a Cy Young type player. I think he's that
hmm
talented. I think his stuff is that good. So I think the rotation will be very improved from last year. Um, and one guy that no one's talking about enough, Kodai Senga. He's starting uh, at the fifth rotation spot. And last season, before he was injured in I think it was mid June, he was elite. I think his ERA was
yeah,
like a 1.17 before he got hurt. Came
yeah.
back, got hurt again, and was just awful the rest of the season. I think no one's talking about him enough, and I think he's gonna be a really good player.
We know the question with Senga. It's can he stay healthy? I mean, he's been really good besides the end of last season if he's healthy. And yeah, I mean, I like the rotation. They've got Peterson and Clay Holmes as well, and then Sean Manaea is going to be out of the bullpen at least to start. The I mean, we'll see about him. I know his velocity's been down throughout spring training, which I mean, if he's not even getting to 90 miles an hour, I mean that's when you get into scary territory.
Yeah, I think the thing with Manaya is teams figured out the arm angle. That was
Yeah.
why he was so dominant in 2024. Was the arm, especially the second half of the year. I mean, he looks exactly like Chris Sale on the mound. As a lefty hitter, the ball is coming from behind your back.
Yeah.
So if it's a slider or a sweeper or one of those pitches that moves away from the body, that moves towards the outside part of the zone, there's no way for a lefty hitter to hit that because
Hmm.
the ball is coming from behind your back. You can't see it, and within a second, it's on the outer part of the zone. I mean, that you just can't hit that as a lefty. But
Yeah.
teams just started to figure that out. Had to figure out his arm angle, how to hit it better. So I think that's what happened last year. That's why he was awful last year. So not sure what he'll bring to the table this year for the Mets, but hopefully he could have a bounce back year.
Yeah, I mean, another one. We'll see. Jonah Tong's going to start in the minors. We'll see if he gets called up again this year. He was not good after coming up last year. I mean, he was elite in the minors. We know he's got great stuff. I think the Mets prefer to have him just work in AAA all season and just get better as a pitcher, and next year come on up.
Yeah, I think he should definitely start at least half the season in AAA. It just depends on if the rotation could stay healthy. I think it depends, a guy like Holmes or Senga or even Peterson, if they're not performing at all and they're playing awful, I think Ton gets the call. And it's also dependent on obviously if Ton's playing well. If he has a 6 ERA down there, they're not going to move him up.
Yeah.
Um, so and then another guy, another young pitcher who nobody seems to be talking about is Christian Scott. I really like Christian Scott as a player. He got Tommy John surgery last year, which was really terrible.
Hmm.
Um, but in 2024, he was moved up. He was pitching really well. Um, and people have just been writing him off because he missed all of last season. He's not considered a prospect anymore. He's 26 years old. Um,
Yeah, we'll
but I
see.
do think I do think he's a solid player actually, and I do think he's starting the season in AAA. Um, but he pitched pretty well in spring. I do think that he could work his way into the rotation, if not a bullpen spot.
Yeah, it's just how will he respond first year out of Tommy John? Which just I have a big question, a transition in. Do you think that David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza could have put their jobs on the line coming into the season? I mean, with we'll talk about the entire it's an entirely new team. Getting rid of that core and really just blowing it up with Jeff McNeil and Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, they're all gone and now it's a completely different team. Do you think if they miss the playoffs again, do you think both those guys can be gone?
I mean, I think Stearns is the hotter seat than Mendoza right now.
I was going to say the opposite.
You think the
I think
opposite?
it always goes on the manager more than the GM.
I agree with that, but I think just how the breakdown of the roster,
hmm
like I think the actual lineup looks better this year than last year, just in terms of the players on
Yeah,
paper.
it's a different type of roster and lineup.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird not having Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo as
And
Mets.
I didn't even mention Edwin Diaz.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
I forgot about him.
that might be the biggest loss they had. Devin Williams. I mean, I'm a Yankee fan, so I don't have great feelings on him. I mean, can he handle being the closer? I mean, he got taken out of that role multiple times last year.
I mean, he's not going to be Edwin Diaz. He's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
not going
that's
to be.
just going from Edwin Diaz to even a good closer is a huge drop off.
Yeah. It's going to be weird, not having the trumpets at City Field, not
Yeah.
having the polar bear at City Field. Brandon Nimmo
hmm
was a Met for, I think it was 9 years, 10 years, something
Yeah.
like that. Maybe even more than that. But it's going to be really weird not to see those guys play for the Mets, but to see guys like Freddie Peralta, Bo Bichette, Luis Robert, Jorge Polanco all play as Mets. It's going to be a very different team.
Yeah, I
So,
mean when first pitches tomorrow afternoon at City Field, you're going to see Freddie Peralta on the mound, Bo Bichette's going to be at third, and Jorge Polanco is going to be at first. What are your thoughts on the entirely new constructed lineup? With its more, I mean, they kind of lost some power, but it's more of a bat to the ball, um, like approach, and yeah,
I mean, yeah, they definitely didn't replace Pete Alonso with a bunch of minor leaguers, but
yeah.
um,
I don't know. I mean,
but
could be argued by some.
yeah, by some. But so they definitely got some good players back. Obviously, Bo Bichette is an all-star player. I think Jorge
hmm
Polanco was probably the most underrated signing of the offseason. I mean, 2 years, 40 million is for a guy that had what I think his OPS last year was an 830 or something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely happy that Bo Bichette is no longer on the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
He's an unbelievable hitter. I mean, he's gonna slap the ball all over the field and even hit some home runs. I mean, we saw that huge home run off of Shohei in Game 7, which I mean, he's clutch. He hits with runners in scoring position, and with Soto and Lindor in that lineup, it's huge to have a player like that.
yeah. I mean, outside the Dodgers, I don't know if there's a better 1, 2, 3 in the lineup than Lindor, Soto, Bichette.
hmm
I mean, that's just as good as it gets, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Luis Robert is a high upside player.
Yeah, we'll see with him.
I think getting out of Chicago was definitely the best move for him. I think
hmm
he had to leave. We only gave up, I think, Luis Angel Acuna. It was Acuna and I think one more other prospect, but I don't think Acuna really was going to turn out to be anything other than a bench infielder who would pinch run and come in
Yeah.
defensively for ninth inning stops.
hmm
Um, I don't think the bat was ever there for him. But I think Luis Robert, the Mets had a huge need at center field after they traded Brandon Nimmo, who was playing left field last year. Soto was really the only guaranteed spot in the outfield. They had two spots open. They were heavily pursuing Cody Bellinger, and Kyle Tucker, but they obviously didn't get either of those guys. So they traded for Luis Robert as a pivot. Um, I think it's a good trade. I mean, I'm not sure how good he's going to be this year, but I do think it's a
Yeah.
high upside trade. I think he is a guy who can be elite defensively, elite on the bases, and the bat has not really been there for him the last couple of years. But I do see him being a guy who can hit. I think if he hits 250 this year with 20 homers, I think that's a good year for him while also being
Yeah.
elite defensively.
Yeah, the top four of the lineup is great with Soto, Lindor, Bichette, and Polanco. It's just a question of the depth in that lineup. If, you know, Robert, as you just said, Beatty, Alvarez, who else you got there? You got Benj. Yeah, and then the guy I want to talk about now, Mark Vientos. He was brutal in spring training. What are the Mets gonna do with him, especially if he struggles out of the gate like he did in spring?
I mean, if he really does struggle that much, a trade is gonna happen.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
just to clear up some spots,
yeah,
for
and
some other
I
infielders
mean,
to come
you
in.
remember, how good he was in 2024, and he was unreal in the postseason. Last year he was very bad.
Yeah, I mean, last year he struggled with some injuries. He just very hot and cold season. You know that he had a 2 week stretch in August where he was like the best player in the league. I mean, he was.
Yeah.
I remember he had a couple of games. It was the Nationals and the Phillies. That's those two series where he was just raking. Like I
Mhm.
mean, like so the talent is there 100%. I mean, obviously 2024 he was probably the second best hitter on the Mets that season. And then obviously in the playoffs, I mean, he probably was the best player in the entire postseason
Oh yeah,
out of any
definitely.
team. I mean, he was just
Yeah, definitely.
unreal. Like he was clutch. He had two walk-offs that year. He had a huge home run against the Phillies in the ninth inning in the playoffs. They went on to lose that game, but doesn't take away from his home run. Um, I mean, hopefully he can get back to that swaggy V.
Mhm.
Um, I think he lost a little bit of his swag last year, so if he
Yeah.
can get back to that
It
version of
comes with playing
himself,
well.
yeah, I think if he gets back to that version of himself, I mean, the Mets have he'll slide in right to that four spot probably in the lineup, and I mean that's just a huge addition to the Mets if he can really get back to that version of himself.
Yeah. There's questions up and down the roster. You could definitely see them missing the playoffs again, or you could see them being one of the top teams in the NL. With, I mean, the bullpen, they really copied what the Yankees had last year with Weaver and Williams not the back.
Yeah,
The bullpen, I really like the bullpen. I feel like it's a bit underrated. I like Brooks Raley a lot, and I know AJ Minter's gonna come back. There's a lot of pieces in that pen that they can. Mendoza has a lot of options back there.
yeah, I mean it's highlighted by Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, AJ Minter, and Brooks Raley. I think Minter getting hurt last year really sucked for the Mets. I think he's a really, really good player.
Yeah,
They signed Rayleigh mid-season, and I think a full season, a full spring, getting him back, uh, back in his regular routine. I mean, obviously last year he wasn't in his regular routine. He was signed in, I think it was June.
yeah.
Um, I think he'll have an even better season this year. He's just a great player in general.
Hmm.
Um, Weaver struggled a little bit last year. He was injured. He never really came back from that, but I think a
Yeah, I
full
mean,
off season will definitely help him out.
yeah, Luke Weaver was, I mean, he was one of my favorite players on the team
Yeah.
last year on the Yankees in the last 2 years. And June, he pulled his hamstring, and after that, his stuff was all over the place, and everything just, it didn't look like Luke Weaver that we saw for that last year and a half. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can recapture that this year.
Yeah, and I do think he has the ability to. I mean, he's very talented. We've seen it before. Um, but I think a full off season of him rehabbing that injury that he dealt with, I think that'll help him definitely. And
Yeah,
then the last guy, the closer, Devin Williams, one of the best closers in the league, um, except for last year. So I mean, we'll
yeah,
we'll see if that production can get back to his Brewers days.
yeah,
Let's have a legit closer.
yeah, yeah.
Another
And
guy I quickly want to highlight, Francisco Alvarez. He really struggled. He last year he was up and down. He went down to AAA for a little bit, and then he got called up, and he was an elite hitter. A couple years before he was great, and then really struggled. 2024 it was. Yeah, he really
yeah,
struggled in 2024, but Um, I do expect him to have a good season. I think he's just really been developing well. He has all the talent in the world. I mean, he was the
Yeah.
number one prospect in baseball at one point. So I do expect a little bit of a breakout year for him. I think he's going to be a terrific player for the Mets this year.
Yeah, I feel like this is the year that Alvarez has to either do it or something's going to have to change because, he's struggled with the injuries. He's always hurt, it feels like, and he hasn't hit as much as he was expected to. So we'll just see if he can finally fill up to his potential. And if he can, that's another elite bat for the Mets.
Yeah, I mean that's just like two or three question marks that just their ceilings are extremely high, but their floors are extremely low between Vientos, Alvarez, and Robert.
Yeah.
So if the Mets can even hit on two out of those three of them, and two of those guys can hit their ceilings this year, they now have five really, really, really legit bats,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll see
And
about
then,
bench as well.
yeah, definitely. Before we close out episode 2, we're going to do the awards for the Mets. So the team MVP, I think the majority would say Soto. I'm going to say Soto. You could definitely say Lindor, though.
I don't think it's going to be Lindor this season. I think he's going to have a little bit of a slower start into the season. You always see Lindor struggle in the first half
Yeah.
of the year. Not the first half, but really the first month of the year. He's
Mm-hmm.
always struggling,
Through
and then he
April.
sometimes picks it up. But especially this
It's
year,
with
the
the hamate
injury,
bone.
the hamate bone. Yeah, you see a lot of guys missing a lot of power when they're first recovering from that. So I don't expect his power to be at full until June, maybe July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so I don't expect him to have as good of a year as he did in 2024, even when he was the runner-up for MVP with Shohei Ohtani. But I do expect him to have a good year overall. I'm going to go with Juan Soto as well for MVP. I think he's fully settled in with the Mets now. I think the first
Yeah.
month and a half, 2 months last year were rough for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, facing all the criticism for, oh, you chased the bag, you left the Yankees for the Mets, and
Yeah, which he
whatever.
did.
Sure. Um, but I do think he'll be the team MVP this year, and I think he'll be the best player on the team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a generational hitter. He's unbelievable. The question is, again, will he steal the amount of bases they did last year with Antoine Richardson no longer there?
I don't think he will. I think Antoine Richardson and Soto had a really tight bond, and I think Richardson was the reason why Soto stole as many bases. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think how many did he steal with the Yankees in 2024? It was like
It wasn't
five, right?
much. Yeah, it wasn't much.
So I don't think it'll be as low as five, but I don't think he'll get to 40 again. I think it'll probably be somewhere in the range of 20 to 30, but I wouldn't say it's as high up as 40 without Antoine Richardson.
Yeah, and then the team Cy Young, I think there's a couple of options here. Obviously, the favorite's going to be Peralta. But you can make the case for McLean, and even Senga. If he stays healthy, you can make the case for him. I am going to go with Freddie Peralta, though. In the last year before free agency, he's going to want to have a great year because I don't think an extension is coming midseason, especially with David Stearns not wanting to pay a pitcher. But I do think that he's going to have a great season and he's going to lead that rotation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Peralta's going to have a huge year, contract year. He wants to make as much money as he can, and I do think he's going to hit free agency. I don't think an extension will come, but I do think he'll. We'll see how this year goes, but I do
Mhm.
think there's a very strong chance he signs back with the Mets in free agency.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
It would pretty much be a disaster if he doesn't. But for the Cy Young, I'm going to give it to Nolan McLean. I
Mm,
just I think his stuff is just better in general. I mean, he throws wiffle balls out there. It looks like, and I mean,
yeah.
we saw it in the WBC. We'll see if the adrenaline's the same, but we also saw it in spring a little bit. We saw live at bats versus Carson Bench. He was throwing 99 at the hands. I mean, if he can get up to 98, 99 consistently on the fastball while throwing these unreal wiffle ball type pitches, I think he's going to be an elite pitcher. So I think I'm going to give him my Cy Young for the Mets this year.
Yeah, I feel like, as I said with Schlittler, I can kind of see it going both ways. I said Schlittler is my Cy Young. I think he can be elite, one of the best pitchers in the entire NL. but I could also see. I mean, he's not even. This is his rookie year.
Yeah.
I could still see him not having the greatest success, and yeah, I mean, what comes with that. I do think that he's gonna be very good though.
Yeah. And it's not a Mets award, but I do think if I had to predict right now, I do think Nolan McLean will win National League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's up there for sure. He's definitely the
Yeah.
favorite.
He's definitely the favorite, the odds-on favorite. But if I had to make a prediction right now, I do think it would be Nolan McLean.
And then the most surprising player, I think that I'm not sure who I'm gonna go with here. I think I'm leaning towards Brett Beatty though.
Mm,
I think Beatty could have a very good season bouncing around in multiple positions. He's going to start as DH, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot of spots for him in the field. They were experimenting with him, first base, second base, third base, and then they even mentioned left and right field. I do think he's going to start at DH, potentially platooning with Mark Vientos, which I do think will be the best for the both of them. Kind of having Beatty just play against the righties and Vientos against the lefties. I do think that's going to be the best fit, and I don't know if it's the most likely option, but to start the season for the first around couple weeks to a month, I do think that's the best for both of them to see kind of where they're both at. 'Cause you don't
Yeah.
know what you're getting from both of them.
Yeah, I just think that he could have a really good season and be very valuable. Who's really solid down the stretch. But yeah, he's my pick for most surprising.
Yeah, I like it. There's so many guys you can go with. That's the issue. I mean,
Yeah.
for the Yankees, I mean, there wasn't a ton of options just
Yeah.
because, you know a lot of the guys. You
Mhm.
know what you're getting from a lot of these guys. But the Mets, I mean, I could throw 5 names out there right now. I could throw Christian Scott, Senga, Vientos, Alvarez, someone like Luis Robert, Benj. There's
That's what
just
I was thinking about.
Luke Weaver even. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many guys you could throw into this mix. It's a hard choice. I'm gonna go. I'll go Francisco Alvarez. I do think he'll just have the best season out of everyone I said. So
Mm.
I that's my prediction. I think all of these guys could have good seasons. Um, we'll see what happens, but I think out of all the guys I named, I just think Alvarez will have the best season in 2026 out of all of them. So I'll go with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. There's a number of guys, as you said, but that is a wrap on Mets and Yankees talk. One more thing before we get out of here. I want one bold prediction league wide, like player, team, overall. I think the one I'm going to go with, the Athletics making the postseason.
I like that. I've been saying that.
I mean, I'm just not even just this season, that's the prediction, but their future looks so bright. They have Nick Kurtz, they have Jacob Wilson, they have Leo DeVries, they have Brent Rooker, they have Lawrence Butler, they have so much talent, Shea Langolier, Soderstrom.
hmm
And just by the time they move to Vegas, I feel like they're really going to be a perennial playoff team.
Yeah, I've actually been saying this for the last couple of years that I think 2025 and 2026 the Athletics look really good, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not even saying. I mean, who knew Nick Kurtz was going to be this good?
Yeah.
So I do really like that pick. Put me in a tough spot on the spot here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, I got two. I'll
Okay.
say two of them. Philadelphia Phillies will miss the playoffs.
Wow. I sense
I
a
think.
little bit of bias in that pick.
Oh, definitely for sure.
I can't see that. I mean, I feel like they're really. I was hearing this the other day. They're really in the same spot as the Yankees, just in the NL. It's they haven't broke through in the playoffs, but it's such a good roster. I do think they're gonna feel the loss of Ranger Suarez, though.
Yeah, 100%. The rotation is not as good. I mean, Christopher Sanchez had an outstanding 2025, but past that season, he's been a solid starter, but he
Yeah.
was never really at the level of 2025. So we'll see if he can get back to that level. I'm just not fully bought in on them. I don't know. I mean, they haven't
Yeah.
broken through ever in the playoffs.
I think
Um,
you still have just a ton of good pitchers in that rotation. even losing Suarez, Zach Wheeler is going to be coming back soon. They have Jesus Luzardo. They have Christopher Sanchez. Aaron Nola is
Aaron
hoping
Nola.
to bounce back. And then Andrew Painter is about ready for the big leagues, too.
Yeah. I mean, their bullpen sucks.
I mean, I think their bullpen's pretty good.
Hmm.
They've got Yohan Duran. They've just got a ton of guys.
Yeah.
I think their bullpen's pretty good.
They never really perform as well as they are on paper, but I don't think they ever really perform that well. That was a bolder take, but
Yeah.
another one. Might be even bolder, might be even crazier. Just really going off on a crazy take here. Cole Reagans will finish as a AL Cy Young finalist in the top 3.
Okay.
I don't know where I got that from. I just feel it. Gut feeling. Gut shot.
It's not bad. I think
it's a weird take. It
Yeah.
just came out of nowhere, but I just think he's a good player. I just think
Yeah.
he's the type of guy that'll just have a breakout year. I just feel
Yeah.
it. I don't know.
Yeah, not
Taking a
bad.
gut shot there.
Yeah, we'll see how that progresses over the season.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for episode 3 of Inside the Numbers. This week we previewed the MLB season, mainly for the Yankees and Mets. Next week we'll recap the first week. Enjoy opening night tonight, the Yankees and Giants on Netflix, Max Fried and Logan Webb, and it should be a great season.
Yep. Super excited. Just get going. Opening day is always fun. Mets kicking it off on opening day. They have the first game tomorrow. Just super exciting.
Yep. All right, that is it for us. We will see you all next week.